Welcome to the Blood Moon Archives, home to real-life encounters of things that go bump in the night. These aren't just stories. These are true horrors that will haunt you long after the screen fades to black. So lock your doors, close the curtains, and keep those lights on. Let's get into it. Do Not Engage by Purple Gum. I still babysit now and then. Not as much as I used to. College keeps me pretty busy. But when I'm back in town or on break, a few families still call me up. Most of the time, it's the same families I've known since high school. Nice people, easy money, good kids. This one job was supposed to be just like that. A Friday night gig, 6 to 11 p.m., 2 kids. I'd babysat for them once before. Nothing unusual. A little boy around 5 and a girl who was maybe 7 or 8. The parents were a little tech-obsessed, but otherwise normal. The house was one of those newer smart homes, with voice controls, sensors, cameras, and everything connected to an app on their phones. I didn't think much of it at the time. Seemed convenient. That night, I showed up around 5:45. The parents were rushing out the door. Something about a dinner reservation downtown. They gave me the usual quick rundown. Snacks in the fridge, bedtime at 8:30, no scary movies. Same stuff you hear all the time. Then the dad handed me a printed list and said, kind of casually, "This is the override sheet, just in case. All the smart systems respond to voice or manual code input. You probably won't need it." I glanced at it. It looked like a cheat sheet for the house, a bunch of numbered phrases like Code 1, Lockdown Cancel. Code 3, Ventilation Pause. Code 4, Guest Override Access. Code 7, Medical Emergency. Code 9, Perimeter Scan. Code 13, Do Not Engage. He pointed out the one for emergencies and said, "Only use code 13 if there's no other option." Then they were gone. The kids were fine. Sweet, actually. They showed me their Lego creations and some drawings they'd made. We watched a movie and had popcorn. They were a little wound up at first, but by 8:15 they were yawning and ready for bed. I helped them brush their teeth, read a short story, and turned on the hallway nightlight before heading back downstairs. That's when things got strange. I was sitting on the couch in the living room, scrolling on my phone, when the lights in the house suddenly dimmed on their own. I figured maybe it was part of a bedtime routine or something automated. But then I heard the front door lock, loudly. A thick, mechanical clunk that didn't sound like a regular deadbolt. At the same time, this message popped up on the TV screen, all white letters on a black background. Lockdown initiated. Code 13. It repeated in a voice, too, robotic and low. Subject detected. Do not engage. I just stared at it, frozen for a second. I hadn't done anything. I hadn't touched the code list or said anything out loud. The TV went black again, and then I heard more locking sounds from upstairs, like every window and door was being sealed. My first thought was that the parents must have triggered it remotely by accident. Maybe the app misheard something, so I grabbed the printed list from the coffee table and flipped through it to find the right override code. I said it clearly. Code 1, Lockdown Cancel. Nothing happened. I tried it again, louder, then slower. Still nothing. The voice came back through the overhead speakers. Subject detected. Do not engage. No name, no detail. Just that same sentence, over and over. I went over to the front door and tried the handle, locked tight. There was a keypad beside it, but the usual unlock command didn't work. The windows were reinforced. I remember noticing that when I babysat the first time, thinking how fancy they were. Now they felt like part of a cage. I was starting to panic a little. The kids were asleep upstairs. I didn't want to scare them unless I had to, so I crept halfway up the stairs and just listened. I didn't hear anything. No crying, no footsteps. Just that soft mechanical hum of the house, fans, power running through the walls. But something felt off. It was like the air changed, heavy and still, like the whole house was holding its breath. Back downstairs, I grabbed the landline phone in the kitchen. No dial tone. I checked my cell. No signal. That made me stop cold. I'd had full bars earlier. The house must have had some kind of Faraday function or signal blocking system. Again, probably something the parents thought was cutting edge. I tried using the intercom screen near the kitchen. It showed all the rooms of the house. Little camera feeds from the smart system. Most were dark, but one camera, the hallway outside the kids' room, was flickering slightly. I tapped on it. The feed popped open full screen. There was someone in the hallway. At first, I thought it was one of the kids, but the shape was too tall. Way too tall. It was just standing there, not moving. Not facing the camera either. Sort of angled away, like it was staring at the wall or the ceiling. The hallway light was dim, but I could make out enough. It wasn't the parents. It wasn't anyone I knew. And they were wearing something dark, not clothes exactly. It looked smooth, like the texture of plastic or rubber. I don't know how else to describe it. I sat there, staring at the screen. The figure didn't move, just stood there outside the kid's door. I whispered the override again. Code 1. Nothing. Just the voice again. Subject detected. Do not engage. I felt paralyzed. I couldn't tell if I should go upstairs, try to get the kids, or stay put. Every instinct told me not to move, not to make a sound. Whatever this lockdown system was, it seemed to know something was in the house. Or maybe, and this thought still messes me up, maybe it thought the subject was me. The figure never opened the door, never looked at the camera. After a while, the feed cut out, like someone turned it off. The screen went black. I waited. I waited for what felt like an hour, maybe more. The house was silent, but the lights stayed low, and the locks stayed in place. At exactly 11:03 p.m., everything shut off. The lights came back on. The doors unlocked. Same loud clunk as before. The message disappeared. The speakers went quiet. I stood up slowly and went to the stairs. Everything looked the same. I climbed up and peeked into the kids' room. They were sound asleep, undisturbed. Nothing seemed touched. No sign anyone had been in the hallway. When the parents came home, I didn't say much. I told them the system glitched, that the house locked me in and the override didn't work. They looked a little embarrassed, said they'd talk to the security company, apologized, gave me extra cash. They didn't ask if I saw anything. I wonder if they already knew. I've never gone back. I told them I was too busy with school. They understood. I still have the emergency code list. I kept it for some reason, folded up in the back of a notebook. Sometimes I take it out and read that last line. Code 13. Do not engage. The house had locked down because it saw something. Something it didn't want me interacting with. And the fact that it's coded into the system, not as a fluke, but as a planned emergency command, makes me think this wasn't the first time it happened. Just the first time I was there to see it. Well, you've heard the truth. But remember, not every story ends when the video does. Some stories follow you home, into the dark corners of your mind. If you've made it this far, you might just be brave enough to face what's next. If you want to hear more of these terrifying tales, and perhaps awaken something, you shouldn't. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You'll want to know when the next nightmare arrives. But be careful. Once you step into the darkness, it's not always easy to find your way out.